What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Tell Me More podcast, presented by Major League Success. I have Erin Rickman with me. She is a real estate agent at Key Realty, and Erin, I'm pumped to have you on today. Thanks so much for taking time out of your day to come on here and just share, your path and your journey into this business.
Yeah, I'm super excited that you asked me to be here. I like to say yes to like every opportunity that comes my way. So, you know, thought this would be
What
cool.
what makes you have that type of mindset? Because saying yes to every opportunity sometimes gets you out of your comfort zone.
Oh yeah, yeah. So I'm actually I like to tell people about, you know, how I grew up and how like super nerdy I am. And how introverted I am really deep down. So I have
Okay.
to really push myself to do things that would probably make other people like, "Oh my gosh, no, don't do that." Otherwise, I would just be stagnant, I would, like,
Yeah.
make a ton of spreadsheets about this business and, just look at the numbers and then be like, "Oh, that's great."
No, I love it. I love it. So that's kind of typically where we start, is the beginning.
Yeah.
What was life like for you, growing up and lead me up to, high school, college years.
Yeah, so, um, even high school, Aaron was very nerdy. Like, I didn't have any friends in high school, really. I mean, people knew who I was, and I knew I was kind to everyone. Everyone was kind to me as far as I remember. But I just wanted to do my schoolwork. Like, literally, my goal was get straight A's, like, do super well, do any, like, extra school learning I could do, and not have a social life. It wasn't really, like, a thing for me to wanna do anything outside of the schoolwork. That was my goal. So, like, I was junior high, I was on a competitive writing team, so that was, super
Yeah.
cool. Any, like, extra math test I could take. I took a Ohio history test in high school and got, like, an award for not missing any questions on that.
Oh
Like,
wow.
I love to learn and test and do things like that. And then I went to college. Actually, I wanted to take a gap year, um, but my parents were like, "We just bought you a car. You can't have it." I was like, "I bought my own car." So I started working when I was 9. Um, I mowed yards from 9 to 12. 12, I started babysitting, and I saved every dime I made and
Wow.
bought a car when I was 16. And then my parents traded it in, which was awesome because it was a 1989 Oldsmobile, and, they got me a nicer car for my commute to college. But then when I was like, "I just think I should take a year off," I was 17 when I graduated high school, so I was like, "I don't know what I wanna do with the rest of my life, like, how am I
Yeah.
supposed to decide now?" Like, "No, if you don't go, your car goes away." I was like, "Get me my old car back." So I went to, Ohio State is where I started and where I finished, but in between, I went to community college to knock out some credits for a little less on the pocketbook, but
Okay.
my major was French.
Wow. Did
Yeah,
you do French in high school?
a very little bit. Our French teacher didn't speak French in high school.
That it's like, I did 3 years of Spanish in high school, and I think, Spanish 3 was pretty much like watching movies the whole time. Like, I don't know any Spanish.
We had a French foreign exchange student live with us my senior year, and,
Okay.
um, she went to speak to the French teacher because she was super excited, like, "Oh, yeah, someone that can, talk to me." Didn't understand her at all, and I was like,
Oh
"Oh,
my
man."
gosh.
So, my grandma was French Canadian, she was the first person in her family to come to the United States, and she only spoke
Okay.
French when she came, and I was like, "Yeah, that'll be cool to learn," and I don't know. My major when I started was business, I switched to French. I studied in Quebec City, I studied in France and Dijon,
Wow.
and I had a great time, but
Was the
then
goal to, like, go into, like, the teaching side of things? Or
don't
I mean,
envision
because
what my goal was.
yeah, well, it's one of those things, like, I went to college in 2007, right? So, I don't say my parents forced me and my siblings to go to college. My sister and I went. My two brothers didn't, and but it was almost like implied.
Yeah,
right?
that's
Like,
I think it
you
was
know,
that time. Like, I graduated high school in 2003, and it was like, "Yeah, you're
yeah.
going to college." Like, I
Yeah.
don't know.
It's so hard to figure out, what to do at, like you said, 17, 18 years old and pick that degree, that major that,
Yeah, and I
yeah,
really thought I would travel a lot, like, I thought I was gonna do, like, international business and learn a language so that I could work for I mean, there are some companies here in Ohio, like the limited brands, they all, had
yeah,
French-speaking needs, Michelin Tires had some needs there were, like, companies that I'd already targeted, like, I could do
sure,
this,
sure.
but, as this life goes, I met someone, we dated, we got married, and we started having kids, and I really liked I traveled enough to know that I really like home, so
Yeah,
it's like, I wanna
yeah,
be here, and French jobs here are teaching, um, which would be fine would have been fine maybe,
yeah.
but, it wasn't, like, exactly what I wanted to do.
Yeah. So you graduate with the French degree. Kind of, did you dive right into real estate? What was the path right after college?
No, I substitute taught a little to see if, like, do I want to maybe do that? That's really when I was like, "Ugh, yeah, this is a lot," and, like, I'm really bad at being on time, like, timeliness is not, like, my best thing, and I was like, I'd have to be there, like, right on time, and people are counting on you, and, um, I don't know, it wasn't for me, so I
Yeah.
worked at a just different jobs. I worked at a construction company, I worked at the Ohio Historical Society, um, I worked some places, and I was, like, always looking for a job. While I
Yeah.
was working, I was always looking for something that I really wanted to do.
Yeah.
Um, so then my mom's actually an agent. So my mom was an
Okay.
agent. Um, but I never really like thought much of it. At the time when I was working all sorts of jobs, my husband was doing mortgages. He was a mortgage loan assistant. So they
Okay.
were like both of them like, "Oh, you maybe see if there's a career that you wanna try." So I actually tried appraisal because that, like, speaks much more to
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
my nerdy side that, like, let's do some numbers and reports. That sounds great. Appraisal is so hard to get into. Have you ever heard this? Like,
So,
it's so hard.
yeah, I had Tom. Do you know Tom Connect?
Yeah.
So I had Tom on here before, and he talked about building the appraisal business that he had, as well as the real estate side. Um, and yeah, the apprenticeship and all of that stuff that goes into it.
Yeah, so I reached out to, like, 30 appraisers to apprentice, and they were all like, "No, thank you. No, thank you." Many non-responses, like, many no thank yous, and I was like, "Oh, okay, well, I'll
So,
just get my real estate license, because I know I can do that, and then once I get into real estate, maybe I'll connect with an appraiser enough that they won't tell me no thank you." So, that was kinda how I got into selling side.
so growing up, there was no desire ever to get into the real estate side, into the
Nope.
business.